is about replacing a failed and corrupt, and when I say corrupt, I'm talking about totally corrupt, political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense. And that's what's been happening. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. As an example, just one single trade deal they'd like to pass involves trillions of dollars controlled by many countries, corporations, and lobbyists. For those who control the levers of power in Washington, and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat, like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another four-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. Our just announced job numbers are anemic. Our gross domestic product, or GDP, is barely above 1% and going down. Workers in the United States are making less than they were almost 20 years ago, and yet they are working harder. But so am I working
So it
harder.
is to the printing press,
That I can
to
tell
the
you.
recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news,
It's a
that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
Brother,
Airborne Patriots, good morning all over the world.
what is
Check
going
this out.
on?
Check this out.
Oh,
This
got
is,
some popcorn.
Well, Mr. Collins said he's got his popcorn ready. He's ready for the show.
You saw that yesterday, right? He's like,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
that
I'm
was
here. I got my popcorn.
You know it.
I was like, wow.
Hey, we're not the only ones.
Yeah, they've all vested in some popcorn. I just had a bowl the other night, and I had a bunch of seeds, so I went out and planted those little seeds, and I should have some popcorn. I should have some popcorn by next spring. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm joking, folks. Good morning,
Michael
Patriots. Grillin.
Michael Popcorn Seed Guy.
Grillin says, morning, fellas. Morning, Mike and Woodman.
All right.
I am. Why is that not rotation? 2.
Popcorn stock is up. Yes, indeed.
I'm playing with some stuff here, folks. Seconds.
I'm just reading these occasional chats.
Go refresh. Yeah, no, I am playing around with that in the last few days. The chat box underneath. Software we're using here has got lots of options, folks, and I'm watching videos. This is how I got into this software. Now I'm going to the next level with it. Just you can create your own stuff. I want to create our own chat. I'm looking to do a translucent one in a way, so give me a few days. But and then just like now, it's not quite doing what it did before. Used to give us from Twitter. I can't seem to pull that in. I mess with some things, but we'll see. We
Nice
will
hat,
see.
Derek.
So again,
Nice hat, Derek.
Yes. Morning, all
Morning had
Patriots.
enough. Yes, indeed. What a popcorn morning. Yahoo! It's no longer an afternoon snack, an evening snack. I just love this Nadler guy, your uncle. I think he's really a fantastic guy, Mike, by the way.
I do got control here. What's that again? Woodman, say it again.
I said, Nadler, your uncle, I've been freaking out about him. He's, you want to talk about looking real stupid? That's exactly what he is, and and he's still going at it. He doesn't care. He's to the end, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I love your hat, Derek. Love your hat. Yeah, I'm gonna mess this up probably. Mr. Sensenbrenner says this resolution is absurd. Back when they done it in '74 and '98, at least they had allowed the person to have a committee, for cross-examination and so forth, which they never done for President Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything and everything, and just everything is fabricated. That's the bad thing, and nobody finds out until it's way late, because like we've always said too, you hear the same thing over and over and over again. It gets stuck in the back of your mind, and all we can really see is this fake news, except for when you do stuff like we do, and dig a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame the masses, but I'm hoping that we have people out there that will wake them up, Yeah.
I agree, brother. All right, I'm just playing with some of the vMix social here, trying to, I figured out like this. I can send it right below us. Watch here. It's going to be Jonah Brulin. Whoops, that went quick. Still playing with it. I can make send. There we go. Morning, Michael and Woodman.
All right.
Jonna, I got the photo. I actually did a video yesterday. For some reason, I didn't post it. I don't know why. I did at the end. I went through all the P.O. box stuff. I got quite a few things yesterday, or 3 or 4. Again, thank you guys so much from Jeff and Jonna Brulin. They can't wait to meet us next August. They're telling us, so they will be at the Flag Retirement Patriot Fest. This is awesome. This will be up on the wall. I just wanted to do a little more of a video. I like I said, I did basically just a rant off my chest yesterday for 5 or 6 minutes, and then I got into a bunch of stuff in the P.O. box. I got it all uploaded, just never hit sent for YouTube yesterday, and it's kind of sitting there still. Now I'm thinking, do I post it? It's a day old. I just got tied up yesterday over on this channel doing all the live stuff. So I completely forgot that I never released a video, and now it's a day old. The stuff I talked about is relevant. It'd just be the date in the very beginning, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Wednesday. Here it is Thursday. So not a big deal. Again, no agendas this morning. We're just probably going to go over some news we want to talk about. Yesterday we did over here, both of those hearings were live yesterday, folks. Other than later in the afternoon, yes, I was replaying them because I saw people joining saying, I just got off work, ready to listen in, or people are busy. So we kind of highlighted a few of those again. Very relevant stuff. I think Jim Jordan was able to go to both. They're probably held in the same building, just different areas of the building, right, Woodman? And it looked like he was at both, I think. Jim Jordan was at both. So he probably just ran from one to the other. When the one ended, I'm assuming.
That's what I would say, yeah. That's what I would say. And he always has a lot of input that's very pertinent,
Well, look how they're stacking that up. Yes. They made a point with Horowitz that he 2 weeks ago released his little summary, or he just turned over everything to Barr to get looked at, redacted. Look for something like that tomorrow. I mean, Fridays are a great day to release information like they typically do in the past, late on Friday evenings. But they brought up the fact that none of the Democrats that control the House and all that have got a hold of Horowitz to question him like they've done everybody else. This guy spent 2 years investigating. He had criminal referral charges for Comey, which we all kind of knew about a week ago when they didn't charge Comey, but we didn't really know it was like directed from the Horowitz investigation. Well, we figured, but it was public knowledge yesterday. From my 2-year investigation, the number one at the FBI was found to have lack of candor, which is a technical word for lying. And same with McCabe or whatever, that they just weren't being truthful. So these charges came. And then there was none recommended when he turned those over to the current DOJ for Comey. Like, we're not going to. And the FBI makes a living on getting people on lying. They did it for Flynn. They did it for Martha Stewart. She was charged with selling off stock. If you're the head of a company and the company takes a tank a month later, but then they go back in time and like, well, it looks like you were selling off a lot of your stock about a month ago. It's like you had prior knowledge, that insider trading stuff, but they didn't get her on any of that. That's what they started messing with her for and talking to her, but they ended up getting her on the lying, just for lying to them about it and stuff. So then these pundits on the media will sit there and tell you that, well, the typical procedure for when somebody lies at the FBI is they get reprimanded. It's an in-house thing. And it's like, well, how come when other people lie? Well, because they're coming at you to get you, and you can't lie to the police. And it's like, well, the police can't lie to the public then either. That's kind of like a standard that should be through and through. Well, if they do, they just get reprimanded from within inside the FBI, demoted or in this case, this person was fired. That's enough. And it's like, oh, that's all they typically get. It doesn't seem very fair that they, go around for a living arresting people and locking them up for lying, and then they can do it and just, slap on the wrist, fired, So that's interesting. The big difference is these people that they're pointing out as references or to compare to Comey or to McCabe are different low-level people. They're like reaching into a file and pulling out just, we had this one guy that was at the FBI for 2 years and he lied sometimes. He got fired. Well, this is a number one and number two guy. And you know that, Woodman, as well as I do. In any military or government structure, there's a boss and then you have the rank and file. And you're typically, if you're the boss, you're held to a little bit higher standard, I would imagine, in any job. We've gone over this, I think, in the last few episodes, but typically you get in a little more trouble if you're high up. Why is that, Woodman?
Well, because of the responsibility level. Holy cow, look at the responsibility level, everybody. Think about this now. I personally done some pretty heavy stuff security-wise, and I'll tell you right now, if you at any point or time altered from that, what you call SOP, standard operating procedures, you were held accountable by a court of law in the military. You know, we had to go to the USMCJ, whatever. USMJ, sound right? Yeah. Anyway, anytime you have that much responsibility, supposedly these people's heads should be rolling. Especially having the title they do and having a responsibility factor that they do have. This carries a lot of weight in our country, patriots. These are the people that we have total response, or how do you say? We expect nothing but the best out of these people, because they are supposed to be the best in the country, to take care of us. And what we're finding out now, since thank God for this, and I mean thank God for this, we have President Trump now that's blowing the whistle on this stuff. The bad thing is, you know, I just wish they would do it by the law. By the law, technically, all these acts are treasonous, and you should be shot or hung. The responsibility factor of these job titles, everybody, is nothing but supposed to be the best in our United States of America, to monitor and keep justice for all. And that also means them. They should be the ones who get, you know, they should be not chastised at all. They should be the ones who suffer the blunt of everything, 90% of it, and everybody else, you know, that follow the 10% blunt, you know. But here's the thing: all the people underneath of him technically have to do exactly what he says, or goes by his guidelines, or they get chastised and or fired. If they don't play along, they just get rid of them. That's, I guess that's the bottom
here's
line.
what's going on with Trump and why it's different. There's and we all know it. I know you know people, Woodman. You got friends around the area. You've worked for them. When you're in, like Trump, running a business, all the businesses he's done, some people goes, oh, he's had 6 or 7 go bankrupt. Okay, fine. I'm saying, and I got a buddy, you know, Scott's on the show. He's a business owner. To be successful anymore, and you know, some people will claim, depending on the area you're at or the hiring pool you got, like, oh, it's hard to find someone good. You need to be good at firing and rehiring. That's what you need to get good at. Not like, how do I get good at hiring good people? Well, that'll come with you fishing through the numbers. If you got somebody that's not performing, if you got somebody that's not producing, if you got somebody that's jacking you around, every excuse under the book for every reason why they can't do it. Just like that joke goes, there's a guy that's been very comfortable at his job for 20 years. He's got the boss and all the people in this office convinced that he's doing more than enough. And the things that he can't get done, he's got them convinced that it's the forces of nature against him, and he's doing his best to navigate through it. Whatever. And this new guy comes in and starts running circles literally around this guy, and your whole little empire kind of melts away and collapses right before these bosses' eyes, because and the boss being us, the people, are seeing this now with Trump. Like, everyone's begging for more of the same. It's like, oh my God, the media's playing games of, look at Trump. He's got this guy in one day, 2 weeks later, this guy's out. Oh my gosh, he can't keep people. You can't, this is not the norm. Okay, so we go back to look at the norm before Trump. It was everybody there forever, and nothing ever got done. We know this. The border was an issue. Health care was an issue. All these things existed well before Trump. So now Trump's in, and he's doing the exact opposite, but everyone's begging for more of the same. But all you have to do is go back and see that nothing was good under these other people. I don't care if it was Bush, Clinton, Obama. It was all the same. So we don't want more of what we've already had, which would be the same. We want possibly what we're seeing, which is a rapid I don't know if there's another reason to go back in time, or this is a pool of people like, man, when these names keep coming up, he picked John, Chucky Bolton to be head of, and that was a guy that was under Bush. We know he can't be that good. Well, maybe they were getting these people back into government to get them on the record, to bring them back in, and then let them operate again and see if they got more new things on them to be able to investigate, open up, and then go back in time. I don't know what's expired, what's what. I don't get it, but there is a massive turnover with the Trump thing, and that's one thing the media will let you know about. It's chaotic there. You can't keep people in. It's a swinging, revolving door. Well, that's maybe what it's going to take. You need people to do very little bits, and if they're not producing, why wait around? Why let them talk? That's just all they've done in the past is, it's a little more complicated than what you think. Maybe,
right, exactly. Well, I do know several businesses around here, business owners, and I will say one thing, and I'll stress this fact. They say they take all the good people they have, and they actually talk to them every now and then, maybe once a month or twice a month. They have a company-wide meeting, and they get everybody's input. But what's happening here is the people that are working for these companies are really good at what they do, and they have friends, not family members, because that's where you get screwed up hiring a lot of family. But they have friends that are in the same field that you are in, and they're really good. So you pull them in, and what you're actually doing is you're creating a work environment that is nothing but as close to bliss as you can get because everybody has to go to work. You got to put your time in. Well, if you're going to put your time in, you want to be able to enjoy that time, even though it's still work. If you hate your job and hate the people around you, that's torture. But if you get these companies turned around like these people have that I know personally, the one I'm going to really refer to is when I worked there, and I started working there when it was probably a total of 7 people. We had to walk around with little space heaters, plug them in the wall, in your little work area, because they were such a small company. They really couldn't afford to have all those luxuries. So, if they had to, they'd provide these little heaters. Well, this is the thing. Over time, these people that I started working with around me were really good at what they'd done. And so what happened was the quality level was way up there, and it never, ever dropped. This company, within about 5 years, people went from like 6 or 7 employees to having 3 full-time shifts, and still couldn't get the work done because they just couldn't handle the load. People around them are begging. It's like a machine shop, and when you make perfect parts all the time, the customer has to have that. They don't have time to be messing around with, checking. They do cycle checks, where every 10 parts or every 20 parts you test the whole thing out, to check it, make sure everything's still within, gradation there. That's just like us patriots. We're all hanging together to do the same thing. It's if I should say the left, if the left would ever get real and quit worrying about themselves and worry more about what their job title is and or what they're supposed to do for us, they're there to work for us. This is not a free ride like they've been having for so many years. That's why I'm glad President Trump was not a politician, because he couldn't have been able to pull it off otherwise.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Man, that guy just does so much.
Breaking articles here. We got FBI insiders are blowing the whistle on the cover-up of the shooter who killed 4 Marines and a Navy sailor at a military installation. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see here. All right, so FBI insider blows a whistle on the cover-up of a shooter who killed 4 Marines and a Navy sailor at a military installation. Finally, FBI insiders are blowing the whistle on the FBI's investigation of Mohammed Yusuf Abdelaziz, who opened fire on 2 military installations in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The FBI had the shooter on the terrorist radar for years. Here again, you always hear this. So the FBI shooter had him in their radars for years, and then through an officially then FBI Director James Comey and the FBI brass painted Abdelaziz as a mystery man and a lone wolf shooter. They had no idea. He came out of nowhere. The reality is he was no stranger to the FBI. This Abdelaziz gunned down and killed 4 Marines and 1 Navy sailor, as well as wounded a police officer and a Marine recruiter in 2015. The FBI investigated the deadly drive-by shooting, but produced very few details. Comey, in fact, said that this guy, this Abdelaziz, was likely motivated by foreign terrorist organization propaganda. And FBI brass claimed that the terrorist was killed during the rampage. Was not previously on the FBI's terrorism radar, even though his father was on at least one terrorist watch list. The shooter's actions and motivations were, therefore, largely a mystery, according to the official narrative of the FBI. Eventually, the Bureau said the Tennessee shootings were Islamic terrorism, likely inspired by foreign terrorist organizations. Now, federal law enforcement sources are providing new evidence that disputes the official FBI story. Imagine that. And sheds a disturbing light on this terrorist activities prior to the shootings. In fact, Abdelaziz was on the FBI's radar long before his 30-minute rampage that terrorized the Armed Forces Career Center in a strip mall and a U.S. Naval Reserve Center. So a year before all the shooting went down, this guy had been under federal surveillance. He was a target dating to approximately 2010, sources said. That was during the Robert Mueller tenure as FBI director. Field reports pinpointing Abdelaziz and his associates believed to have ties with ISIS, circulating both at the FBI from informants who were also providing similar reports to high-ranking Justice Department officials. Insider said the intel. See, what's so disturbing about this, Woodman, is I've been working on a video in the background. I don't know if I'll ever get to it, but these things pop in my head as far as all the research I've done when you look into even starting with like Ruby Ridge. There's always these FBI informants around. And, they're pressuring this guy to sell him a gun. He didn't want to. And after the guy nagged for 6 months, he finally, all right, here, I'll sell you one. And then, all right, we got you. And then horrible things transpire. And the FBI walks away. You don't hear much about it. The Timothy McVeigh thing. 28 people claim to have seen another guy in a truck with McVeigh. They release a very small edited version of McVeigh getting out of the Ryder truck that you rent for moving, and 10 years later they release the full video. It shows after McVeigh gets out, another guy gets out. The guy goes back, sits back in the truck for a minute, and then gets out again, and then the damn thing goes off. Supposedly, the reports came out early on for the Oklahoma City. We're looking for 2 people. That quickly changed to 1, and it was McVeigh, and we got him. It was the FBI handler. Did he actually light the bomb? According to McVeigh's own words, they were supposed to be selling this to 2 Islamic terrorist guys. Who knows what they told McVeigh the whole time? They changed the target on him. We now know also 10, 15 years later through paperwork, the CIA admitted McVeigh worked for them. So now you gotta, they don't come out and say a CIA guy blew up the building. They say a disgruntled Marine or Army guy, they really do a good job at just lying. So back up before the Oklahoma City, the 93 World Trade Center, the Twin Towers that fell eventually, the first time, again, FBI agent working with a Middle Eastern man. The Middle Eastern man grew very weary of his FBI handlers because this guy was an informant working with, and he did it in the past. We sell these guys fake bombs. FBI arrests them. I'm thinking I'm doing a great job for America, helping you guys with your terrorist stuff, and you guys are going around arresting them. Well, they got weary when they said, we're going to sell this guy a real bomb. And the FBI gave this handler a real bomb. He didn't like that, so he started recording them. Got hundreds of hours, which all came out in the courts, which again was years later, and nobody knows about it. So what really scares me is every single time there's these handlers, these guys, and you'd think they'd be stopping the crap, but it seems like every time, no, they make sure it actually happens. Now, I can't imagine this is the FBI's normal business model. I would hope not. But it's pretty scary. Every single time I look into one of these crazy things out there, who's around them?
People, to catch these people doing all these bad things, people wake up. The FBI, CIA, whoever it is, they plant people in there that look and act just like the people they're trying to get. If they didn't do that, then the people they're trying to get wouldn't accept them in their little teeny-weeny bubble.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't find anything out. So that, some of those guys even actually, murder people just to make it look good so they can get back into the system.
And I would put it like this, Woodman, I get that. And, it's like, they want to infiltrate, back in the day, the biker group, the Hell's Angel or whatever. They had the guys that would go undercover and they would blend in. And then because of their federal titling, there was restrictions sometimes put forth, like you need to, earn yourself in this club here, do this drug. And these guys being federal agents couldn't. So nowadays they moved on to these contracting civilians, people that are already out in the streets, already connected in. They'll now, if they're going to take down this huge gang, they'll go to the low middleman and get him to flip, make him wear a wire. Yeah. You can do all the stuff they put forth to you because you're working for us. And that's a way to plausible deniability. And that way, if it's the civilian that ends up getting dead, they just write it off. These people don't ever they're not exposed, and they can turn their back real quick if they were. And sometimes these things go rogue and they're working below the radar of even the government, like the FBI, the head people might not. It takes a facet of a small group, but there should never be, like us explaining this, they infiltrate all these groups. They have, undercover FBI and CIA guys are going into the terrorist ones, the biker ones, the mob ones back in the day. They infiltrate all of them. But, and it's like we get a lot, but there is a percentage that go through no matter what. And it's like, nah. When you look at the 93 bombing for the Trade Center, it was a Ryder truck. A yellow Ryder truck. You look at 95 Oklahoma City, Ryder truck, yellow Ryder. This is like a common scenario here. Full of bomb. The 93 one was fertilizer. The 95 one was fertilizer. And they just can't provide. Whenever you get to the hardcore fact of every little lie with them, they just stop cold track. They don't, when they say, well, the DNC was hacked by Russia. We can say, no, that's not true. We can look at the stringer file and the code on the end of that, and it looks like the transfer rate was that of a thumb drive plugged directly into the computer. That's how it was transferred. The rates that you're telling us that somebody from Russia hacked all the way into the DNC doesn't exist. It's outside the science realm of what is plausible with an internet connection from the United States or from Russia to the United States, and that's what they're telling us. You prove them wrong with facts and solid punch them in the face brick wall, and they shut up and they can't provide any more. That's what we've put to the government. You show us this, and then I'll shut up. Can't provide that to you because, they play on the fact that most people are dumb. Same with 9/11. Show us the plane hitting the damn Pentagon. A lot of people would shut up. Well, we can't. National security. We saw the plane hit the other two buildings. You have no problem playing that on 24/7 repeat TV. Why not show us this one? They don't have it. Right. It's a lie. So every time you dig around any of their stories and you get, the 95 Oklahoma City, they edited it. They showed McVeigh get out, and then that's all they give you, 30 seconds. Well, years later, you get 10 minutes of the video. You see McVeigh get out. 5 minutes goes by, and then another guy gets out. Then he comes back, and then he gets out again, and then the damn thing blows up. Yeah. Who is this guy? Don't worry about it. So every time you push, prod, look, and every damn time there's some rogue FBI guy working for somebody higher and higher up than himself, and they protect these people. And it's like, well, we had them infiltrated. They were there to make sure it didn't happen, but it did. It's like, look, we stop 100 a year. Once in a while, one goes off. It's like, no, I don't buy that, because you guys would be successful every time. There would be no reason for McVeigh to get out, and then your handler to get out 5 minutes after, come back, and then leave again, and then the damn thing to blow up. If McVeigh triggered something and then the other guy sits there, you'd think you'd be able to stop it. And then you can get the guy on trying to really blow up I don't even know why you need to go that far to let the actual guy that you're going to arrest eventually show up on site, trigger the bomb, and then to actually say, well, this one went off. Wow, weren't you guys in a little bit more control than that? No, we were, never in control. It was always McVeigh. Not when he gets out of the truck first and the damn thing don't blow up until your guy gets out. Come on. Who really did
you're
that?
Not supposed to. You're not
We're not
supposed
that
to
dumb.
figure that out. You're not supposed to figure that out. You're supposed to listen to whatever they say and
that's
and remember everything they show you. That's like back to that fake news stuff, man. That's where they get away with all this trickery.
It's not hard, right? I mean, most people have never seen buildings go down. So on that day, it's very powerful to repeat, like, folks, here's a building, there's a plane, there's jet fuel,